We've been looking at Paul and Barnabas taking the gospel to what is now Turkey, to people who had never heard the good news of Jesus. Last week we left them in Antioch, and this week we pick them up there as they go on a journey through some other cities. And just to get an idea of the scale of their trip, it was the equivalent of walking from Southampton to Sheffield and back again. And when they got back, they set off once more to walk to the equivalent of Cambridge to get a ship back home. Quite a journey. But there are 4 questions that left me about myself that maybe you want to think about when you've read the passage and seen what happened to them along the way. The first one is, what are my expectations when I tell people about Jesus? Do I expect them to accept the good news, or do I expect them to reject it? The fact was that they experienced both of those things. Huge success in some places, huge rejection in other places. Huge success and huge rejection in the same place sometimes. Am I ready for different responses to the gospel when I share it? The second thing is, who do I focus on when I'm talking about the gospel? Do I focus on me and my needs, or do I focus on the people who the gospel is for? You know, the Jews, it was very sad that they knew they were God's people, but they missed the point that God had called them to bring the good news to the whole world, to the Gentiles. Is my concern for everybody out there, or am I more bothered about my own relationship with God, spiritual life? The third one, am I ready to suffer? Because Paul and Barnabas suffered physically, they suffered psychologically, they suffered spiritually, they suffered emotionally. Huge suffering because they knew that they had to follow God's call. Am I ready to suffer for Jesus? And finally, do I honour God in the telling? When I'm talking about what's happening in my life, do I talk about what God is doing, or do I talk about what I am doing? Do I talk about my successes, or do I talk about God's goodness? When Paul and Barnabas got back to their home church in Antioch, they reported all that God had done through them. That's a great message for us this week. Let's report what God has done in our lives.